And then the only other feud left this month in the heavyweight division is Raven and Sabu.
Yeah, I don't think this month was as good as the initial month, but I do like that it spread over onto Impact.
Yeah, so these stars are actually on the show, and there's angles on the show and story development on Impact as opposed to just squash matches. So NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 103, July 14th, we had that Abyss and Shelley versus Sabu and Dutt match that ended with Goldie and Shelley walking up the ramp as Sabu was about to put Abyss through a table before the lights went out. And an audio clip of Raven played in the building as the Sheik dummy hung in the old TNA dancer's cage. Then Abyss dropped Sabu with a shock treatment and powerbombed Sabu through a table. So Raven is haunting Sabu.
Ooh.
Sabu had a squash match on the July 16th Impact. He beat Alistair Ralph, Liam.
Alistair Ralph.
Everyone's favourite Team Canada member, A1, making his debut.
I didn't even know that it was A1.
You saw Alistair Ralph and you weren't like, it's A1!
No, I was like, yes, the House of Ralph.
You're a bad A1 fan.
I'm sorry.
My favourite part of this was Sabu won with the triple jump moonsault, but A1 kicked out on 3. He's like, I'm a big star. I'm doing that post 3 kick out.
Yeah, surprised that was cool.
Listen, he's the Team Canada guy. He can get away with whatever he wants. Also, he's big.
True.
So Sabu has been striking Raven's pose a bunch. He struck his pose again to end this segment. Before, Sabu faced Abyss in a Falls Count Anywhere on this match on the July 21st show. Just as Sabu was about to drop out of the stands, lights went out. Raven appeared, hanging Sabu from the stands before dropping him onto a table. Didn't break. Raven then, in a moment of panic and calmness, I guess, a bit of both, did an elbow drop out of the stands through the table, allowing Abyss to pin Sabu, and Raven is back, trying to torment Sabu once again.
This was a really cool ending, and I want to come when I say this. I want to put you over.
Oh, yay!
Yeah. For the great note that he did this in his own nest.
Yeah, there's the old Raven's Perch, which used to be where Raven hung out and cut promos, which is like the top corner of the building, and that's where Sabu was about to jump out of the stands from. Lights out, that's where Raven appears, which I thought, yeah, a good, neat touch.
Yeah, and it feels weird that like we're approaching the end of like all that, you know?
We're only 6 shows left in the asylum after this month, Liam.
Oh, so close.
So later in that show, Hudson has Raven. Raven says that his only consolation is that the Sheik is dead and can't see how embarrassing Sabu has become.
How do you feel about the use and invoking of dead people in pro wrestling angles?
I think it usually borders on bad taste. Nearly always. But I also always get the impulse to do it.
Yeah. I also think there's a certain level of like, oh, this guy's a fucking worker. He'd love this. You know what I mean?
But I also think that's generally used as kind of an excuse to do whatever you want.
Yeah, but it's the goddamn Sheik.
Yeah.
The Sheik is fist pumping. He's hooting and hollering at this.
He's very happy up in heaven. Or sorry, in hell after being led to hell by Paddington.
Yes, thank you. With the Queen.
No.
What? Listen, I wasn't happy about it, but it was there.
It's William Regal's fault.
Yeah, Regal.
So he asked Sabu to make a decision by Impact, which is actually a thing that doesn't happen very often. Like, they actually don't promote either things or angles or matches for Impact very much on the pay-per-views.
Very much, no.
It's very much an other way round situation, which I guess makes sense. That's like the much smaller audience is watching the pay-per-views, the bigger audience is watching television, so the bigger audience should push the paid audience. But I find it weird that that this is like the first instance I can think of where they set up an angle on the pay-per-view to directly push to the TV.
Well, they do stuff like, we'll find out the answer on Impact.
Yeah, which is usually, we'll give you the actual answer on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, which we saw.
I think at least twice they've got, because the Russo killings decision thing was like, find out an Impact. And on Impact, Larry Z is like, we'll tell you on the pay-per-view.
Which is some bullshit.
Raven has a squash match. He makes his Impact debut on the July 23rd show, first time. Actually on the show full stop, I think. I don't think he's actually been on the show at all. Never mind wrestling on the show.
Yeah, I don't think he's even... because that was one of the things I gave out about.
So yeah, squash, Raven effect. Raven wins. Sabu comes out after, stares down Raven. Sabu goes to do Raven's pose, but then Raven slaps him, and then Sabu finally snaps, fights back, and they brawl a little.
Yeah, I really like Sabu's gear.
Oh, his gear always rocks. He's the best.
But like, he's clearly like bringing out the good gear because he's in a big feud that he cares about. A lot of two-tone stuff, which I really appreciate.
And then last show of the month, Mike Tenay's in the ring. Tenay announces that it will be Sabu versus Raven on the next pay-per-view, and it'll be their one and only match. They insist, one and done.
That's what I think.
It actually turns out to be the case. Not for reasons you'd expect.
Why would you setting it up as if it wasn't then? You made me look a right fool. Garrett, this would be like if you were at a Voices of Wrestling press conference, right? And you were sitting next to Rich Crash.
I am fucking sick and tired of working with these kids.
Yeah. I'm old, I'm hurt, I'm tired.
So today introduces Raven. Raven is dressed as the Sheik. He has Die Sabu on his chest, which is presumably German for the Sabu. Thank you. Raven kicks Tenay out of the ring and talks about how he's waited 16 years for this. Raven calls out Sabu to fight now, but he knows Sabu won't come out, so he's going to burn the Sheik's gear. So he puts that in a trash can, but he's like, this isn't enough. This won't get Sabu out here.
I have to murder someone. I like that he's like, oh, I'm going to do something a little unhinged, a little wacky. I'm going to murder someone.
Yeah, so he pulls a body bag from under the ring, which turns out Sanjay Dutt's in there.
Sanjay takes a hell of a bump into the trash can.
Yeah, Raven dumps him in there and starts pouring lighter fluid on him. And he's like, I'm going to set you on fire. My favorite thing is he has this little like lighter stick. I don't know what you call those. You know, the long kind of lighter things.
It looked like a big match.
But it like had a little flame.
I thought it was like a comically large like cartoon match.
Yeah, but it turned out it's one of those things where you just pull a little button and the flame comes at the top. But my favorite thing was like he briefly mixed that up for his microphone and the crowd laughed at him.
I love how unhinged he looks right now. He looks like complete and utter garbage.
Because he has like the mustache, like the almost like a Fu Manchu mustache.
Yeah. He was also dressed like the Sheik.
Yeah, he's going for a look. It's quite the look Raven is going for here.
I don't mind it though.
So lights out. Sabu shows up. He saves Sanjay from being set on fire, and they brawl for a while before security separate them. Like they've been building to this match for 2 months, and I think like I assume they would have went to it a little earlier had Raven not been hurt. But I think they did a good job of pacing this feud, even like pacing it around the injury.
I think it's dropped off a little bit. But I am still excited for the match.
Yeah, so that's the first show of August. You'll get the Sabu versus Raven match.